And good afternoon. It is Wednesday, November 29th, 1:30 p.m. Ryan Belmore here, owner and publisher of What's Up Newp. Mr. Frank Prosnich joins me. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing all right. Did you have a great Thanksgiving?
It was a good Thanksgiving, actually. Spent it
Excellent.
in Philadelphia, visited the Liberty Bell. You know, that darn thing is cracked.
Did you visit the Turkeys, Liberty and Bell, or the Liberty Bell?
Liberty Bell.
Oh, okay.
We were outside of Philly. Then my son and his family, we went over to see the Liberty Bell, and I don't know what happened, but there's this big crack in the thing.
Oh, well, there's a joke in there somewhere about construction and things like that, but we won't get to that now. Superintendent Colleen Jermain, Newport School Superintendent Colleen Jermain joins us every single month, and she joins us here in November. How are you, Superintendent?
I'm doing very well. Happy belated Thanksgiving to all of you, and
yes,
the holiday season.
Maybe you can answer that question. How'd that crack get in the Liberty Bell?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think with the steel deliveries and everything else that's going on around here.
Probably what it is. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
There's a good one. See, I never know where I'm going to start. Sounds like a good field trip down to Liberty Bell. It's a little far from Rogers High School. Where are children going on field trips these days, Superintendent?
Ours are actually going down to DC. We have had them go down to DC with our partner Salve Regina, and they've taken trips down there during vacation times. We also have our children, they visit Rose Island, a lot of Newport locations, Newport Art Museum. Let's see, they're all over the place. We've had them go to some local farms in the area to learn more about farming. Now it's called Ocean Farm or 11th Hour Farm. It used to be the former Swiss Village. We have our children going over there. We try to get them out and about as much as possible throughout the city so they get to know the city and the different opportunities here. But we do go outside. They still go up to Providence, and they'll go to maybe the Nutcracker or, see some holiday plays. So there's a lot. And then, our seniors always like to go up to RISD. As a matter of fact, they went up about 2 weeks ago to the museums and take a look at the exhibits up there. Barbara Wonderla, one of our teachers, she does a great job. She brings them up there on field trips. So a variety of different places. We're very lucky. The teachers do bring them to a lot. URI, once a month, we have a special, it's an English advanced course. One of our teachers brings our students over there at least once or twice a month, and they go over to URI. They speak and meet with the professor, and they do their work.
Are the kids ever in class?
Pardon?
Are the kids ever in class?
They are in class, but there's so much to learn beyond the four walls of the school building that we want to enhance lifelong learning.
Yeah, when they go to DC, do they have an opportunity to meet with any of the congressional delegation?
Yes, our congressional delegation is very good. I believe the last time they were down there, Senator Reid, Senator Whitehouse, and possibly Representative Magaziner were available to them. So we're very fortunate in Rhode Island. Our Congress people make it a point to be there for us.
And Frank, I was in Superintendent. I was there when the last group that came down with Salve, and they went to Senator Reid's office. And Senator Reid was actually back in Rhode Island during that visit, but they got a chance to chat with Senator Reid's staff and learn about how they got into what they're doing and all different opportunities and things that Senator Reid is working on. And they got a tour of the Capitol building. It was pretty neat to see it through their eyes. So.
And thank you. I know you and your wife hosted dinner for the crew. So thank you for that. We greatly appreciate it.
Looking forward to doing it again.
Yep. Good.
You cook, Ryan?
No. I don't cook for 20 people. I cook myself sometimes, but I wish I would have taken some of those culinary classes that were available at Votex back in the day, way back when. So.
The obvious second question now. Where are we with Rogers?
Rogers is coming along. very, very quickly. We were actually just talking about having the topping off ceremony pretty soon, maybe in the next 3 weeks. That means for the audience, that means when you put your last piece of steel in the building, on the building, and you have a signing, and then they put it up on the building. So it's coming along very, knock on wood, very quickly. It's moving forward. We're hoping to start enclosing it around the holidays and hoping to have it tight. I think that the schedule is for February, hopefully before we have any bad weather. But it's moving along very nicely, and we're continuing, and we appreciate the support of the City Council as well as the school committee as far as providing additional funds for our budget gap. And we will very soon kick off a fundraiser for Rogers High School. We plan on closing down the gym around the middle of March, end of March. And we're starting to have discussions about having a celebration in the gym before that goes away. And we also are looking forward to seeing if we can save, some people have specifically asked about the flooring, if we could save part of the flooring to present to some groups, or actually some are thinking for holiday gifts that we can pass those along. So we're looking into several different discussions, ideas about how to move forward.
How much money are we still short?
Oh, I should have prepped on that one. Let's see. I think we're about 3 to 4K, not 4K, I wish, 4 million still we need to raise in order to complete the gap we have right now. That does not mean we have the cosmetology, automotive, or central office yet, and the field. So those are the 3 things we still have to work on.
3 to 4 million, is that your goal for the fundraising campaign?
I don't know. And the reason I don't know is the group is getting together and we actually have to sit down and discuss strategy and how we want to approach it. So I don't know if we're going to do this, Frank, if we're going to do it piecemeal or think, and I think it's a bigger discussion with more people beyond the school building committee, as far as the city and others. We noticed that Cranston just recently had an article about they're going back to bond because, lo and behold, they are finding they need additional, I think about 25 million. They have a $25 million gap on their elementary school. And they also have other projects that they're interested in doing. I have to study and look at that article a little bit more in depth, but I am aware, and it seems like now there are other districts that are speaking up and saying, you know what, we do have a money problem and we need to share with our communities. Newport has been sharing that with the community, and possibly because we've been a little bit further ahead than other communities in our building project. So we had our eyes wide open when we started to see those costs due to inflation, labor shortages, or material deliveries delays. So
I've even heard from people on the Westerly School Committee where they're projecting to be about 3 to 4 million short on a $50 million project. So project that out with a larger project. They're confident they can make it up, but everybody's under the same problem.
Yeah, it's challenging, but good times are coming. I'm going to be optimistic and looking forward. Everywhere, I think statewide, all our communities want good schools for our children. So I believe we'll all get through this. It's just one day at a time.
Superintendent, I was wondering if you had any reaction to the bonds barely passing in Middletown, and if them moving forward with school changes absolutely anything that's happening in Newport Public Schools now or in the future.
Yes. So did I have a reaction? Yes. I was like, I'm happy. As some shared with me, a W is a W, a win is a win. But I know if I were in that district, I'd be a little bit concerned about having the whole community coming together to want to make this a successful building, and it would alert me to, I need to get out there and talk to people and find out why they had some doubts or what are their concerns, because that was a close call, very close, and too close. I'll just even say it, too close for comfort for me. And I would really need to dive into and talk to those that were very, what are their concerns, and try to, as best as possible, alleviate those and share out and answer those questions that they feel were unanswered. Or, no one can ever predict the future. I believe people at the time, with the information they have in front of them, make the best decision possible based on that information they have. And maybe it's just a matter of better educating people for what their concerns are. I don't know. Would it play? I think part of your question is, do you think it would play into anything for the future for the two communities? I'm going to say possibly, in the sense of, we all want what's best for our children. And I think in both communities, whatever we could do to help save money and be as prudent as possible in our spending, I know we would come together. It doesn't necessarily always mean you have to regionalize, but there are definitely other ways of sharing services, of joint purchasing, all of the above. And Newport has always been open to that. And I know Superintendent Krager has as well. So we're always willing to work together. And just to remind the public, we do have 8 East Bay districts in EBEC, East Bay Educational Collaborative, in which we do a lot of that joint purchasing, professional development, et cetera. So there's some work already going on, and we could capitalize and maybe move some of that forward.
Any discussions, as of, it's early since the vote, but have any discussions been initiated at all now that the vote is done?
No, nothing. I haven't heard anything. Everyone's eating their turkey.
I heard something this morning I was surprised at. Met with people who were dealing with economic development down in Washington County. And they're doing a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a terrific tool. And they listed under the weaknesses in Westerly, education, even though Westerly High School has fared pretty well in some of those measures. U.S. News and World Report has a high school as number 11 in the state, and a number of other things point to it in pretty good shape. But their contention is that we're not competing on an economic basis with Rhode Island schools, competing with nearby Connecticut schools. I'm wondering if, in terms of Newport, and whether maybe you're not privy to any discussions, whether people look at Newport being more in competition with Massachusetts schools. And I'll just add one more sentence, that I know from my years as editor of the Business News that when companies consider coming into a community, they look for what kind of quality of life their top executives will experience in the community in which they're going to build something new, or they're going to expand in. And so that's part of that discussion. I was surprised because that's what they were comparing with. I don't know if you see anything of that in Newport.
I'm going to start with, I do believe that everyone, when they move into a new community, they always check out the schools. And we have great schools. Our challenges on our standardized testing and other things we have going on in our community, that plays an impact on what people see when they read, or if they go on our website. I think the proof is in speaking to those that attend the schools. I do believe that the stronger your school system, the stronger your economic base for your community. And I say that at the same time when I also understand that schools are not necessarily just for as you mentioned earlier, the education, meaning what's going on in the classroom on day to day. In communities such as Newport, we're responsible and for other factors due to the demographics and the changing of our student population. And I say that very happily. We're, a community that welcomes all children, and we've had, as you know, an enormous I'll say, growth in our multi-language learners. So for a school system to go from 4% to almost 20%, 22% in less than 10 years, that's a huge shift. And that impacts what goes on in the classrooms. We also have a school system in which we have a high poverty level for our little ones. So we have to make sure we have food available, different health resources, and we have supports for families that are homeless, et cetera. So all of those kind of things, I think, do go into play when someone moves into a community. But again, I think the stronger your schools are, as far as the type of education, where your children go after they leave your school system, makes a difference. And we work very hard here in Newport to stay on top of what goes on with our children, what goes on with them after they leave us. And we're doing well in that category, but not in others, and such as chronic absenteeism. Attendance matters. We need our children coming to school and being in school every single day. Our principals and our staff are working very, very hard on that, and we've seen a lot of improvement each and every day this year. And just yesterday, Thompson was, I think it was 25 or 20% improvement over last year on the same day. And we're monitoring that very carefully. But I believe I mentioned the last time we were together, absenteeism, chronic absenteeism, is really an adult issue. And we need our young parents, and we need our parents, especially for PK through 2, the foundational years, making sure their children come to school every day on a regular basis. And right now, that's not happening. And that's one of our biggest challenges. And to your point about economic development, that is what a lot of young families look for, making sure they have strong education foundation when they start off.
Is that the largest absenteeism problem in the PK through 2?
The largest one is at the high school level, which is not meaning chronic absenteeism. And for the audience, chronic absenteeism means missing 18 or more days of school. And for the audience, just to let you know, if you miss 1 or 2 days a month of school, you are chronically absent. And I think that surprises a lot of people. You mean if my child is only out 1 day this month or 2 days, that leads to chronic absenteeism. And they wind up missing 3+ weeks of schooling. It also sets, I'm going to say, habits that are not conducive to a strong work ethic or accountability. So those are the things you have to keep in mind. 1 or 2 days, or taking children out during vacation time. Out of school when it's not school vacation time. I know the prices are much better for Disney World and all the others during non-school vacation times. But at the same time, too, you have to understand, you have to work doubly. I'm going to say you have to put double efforts in, and we do not encourage any of that, because we need children to be in school where their teachers are there and they're getting good instruction. We learn through distance learning. We know you can be on a screen for some things, but for education to really work, that relationship between the teacher and the student with his or her other classmates is critical to increase student achievement and learning. So high school has the highest, but it starts in PK through 2. And the model for chronic absenteeism or attendance is a U. It starts here for, if this is your Y, and here's your X, and up here, when they're in PK, and then it goes down a little, goes a little, and then around third or fourth grade, it starts to level off. And then when eighth grade comes, it shoots back up. So it's a U for chronic absenteeism.
I know there was, and I forget exactly the format, of parents group that you started a few months ago, if I'm correct.
Parent advisory group, yes.
Parent advisory group. How is that going, and how do they deal, or how are they involved with the absenteeism problem?
Well, they're a small but mighty group. They really shared. They gave some insight at our last meeting that some of the things they offered up and said, and I know that they're very involved parents. Some did not realize how just 1 or 2 days a month could have an impact. Others, it was, I really, really love my bus driver and my child loves school and being with his or her teacher. But sometimes it was behaviors maybe on the bus or other places that made that parent wonder. So that was good feedback for us to work with our bus company to make sure we're monitoring student behaviors on the bus. The other one is another group with Susan Saprell and other community leaders. They're helping us to try to get the word out as far as the importance. And these are community people. These are like our Boys and Girls Club, our MLK, our Newport Community School, Fab Newport. These and others, such as the Historical Society, the Art Association, we're all coming together tomorrow. I'm going to be meeting with them, and we're going to try to think and brainstorm some ideas for our young families or young parents or grandparents that are raising children to get them to understand the importance of being in school. So we're really trying to message this, but we're trying to also share out the financial impact it has, the long range impact it has, and reading, the ability to read and to be reading on grade level, that is not a fallacy. If you're not reading on grade level by grade 3, you're going to struggle. So we really need everyone. It's a concerted effort. It's a community effort to get all our children in school every day.
Another problem that I've heard of, and I don't know whether it's in Newport at all, but I've heard from a school committee person in another community that discipline has become a problem since the pandemic. Are you running into any of that in Newport?
I will say first year back, yes. First year back when we didn't have social distancing. It was almost like now the children were able to be closer to each other, and behaviors, they weren't school behaviors. They weren't used to being in school. So that took an adjustment. It has improved tremendously, since our first year back full time. And fortunately, we're not seeing that now. But I will say, first year back, absolutely, especially at a middle school level. And being a former middle school principal, that is always the age that it impacts the most.
You recently received a grant from RIDE, I believe, for $65,000 from the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act for homelessness. How will that money be used?
We use that for a variety of activities. One is after-school tutoring, transportation to and from possibly some school events, or et cetera, that the children may not be able to attend because they are not in the same, within the school region. A variety of different things. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to say, providing more tutoring, more mentorships, academics, field trips, in some cases with family, trying to support the family as well as the children. So there's a variety of different activities we do use, but we greatly appreciate the funding.
The last number I saw, according to Kids Count, in 2022, they identified 43 kids in the school system is homeless. Is that about right?
It's a little lower, believe it or not, this year, but that's close, yes.
And the definition of homeless, I presume, means somebody who really just doesn't have a permanent home. They might be couch surfing. They may be living in a shelter. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily living out on the street.
That's correct. They could be in the car. They could be in a motel, hotel. They could be couch surfing. And for those that don't know what couch surfing is, you're staying at a friend's house, or you're doubling up with another family in an apartment, etc.
I think it was, I think statewide, the number is somewhere around 1,500 that Kids Count identifies. And there was a high in Newport, according to them, back in 2018 of 96.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a dramatic improvement in that sense.
There's been improvement, but it also might be also the lack of affordable housing. So some families may have been pushed out of the community or have found less expensive housing in other areas.
Also, I was looking on your website, and you looked at December 8th as a kickoff for Learn 365.
It is. We're very excited. Yep, we're very excited. Actually, Monday, December 4th is the soft start. So with Boys and Girls Club, Martin Luther King, and FEB, Newport, we will, an East Bay Educational EBCAP Community Action Program. We'll be starting the after-school programs for the 365. Megan Hill, our coordinator, along with Patty All, my director of teaching and learning, has been working very closely with Ellen Pinnock and Heather Holstrout, and others, Joe Tomchek, and we're all coming together as far as wrapping our arms around all our elementary, our Pell children that need additional supports and to extend their learning day. So we're going to have a celebration on Friday, December 8th, 6 o'clock for our elementary. I have to emphasize that that's elementary. I got a little excited and I put it in my last update. And we only have so much food coming. And they're saying, please, it's only for elementary families and students. So we're looking forward to it. 6 o'clock, Friday, December 8th.
Oh, it's you're well into the Pella Edition, and I presume things are going well, and everybody's still excited about being in the new digs.
Oh, they are. It's been great. It's gone very smoothly. As a matter of fact, right before this meeting with you, we were having final wrapping up the numbers for the Pell project. It's all one big project with the Rogers, the bond was, but we're going to be able to take that one off our plate and just keep total focus on our Rogers project now.
And that one came in on budget, right?
That one did pretty well, yes. And the reason I'm pausing and not giving you an absolutely certain, because we haven't, crossed the T and dotted the I yet, but yes.
So I'll throw out one last question, then certainly leave it open to things that you might want to talk about. Boston Fed yesterday issued a report on immigration in New England and the impact of immigration in New England and across the country. Also, how we rely upon immigrants to fill a lot of jobs, but apparently, particularly in New England, where immigration has played a huge part. In Connecticut, for instance, if it were not for immigrants, Connecticut would have shown a population loss in the last go-around. And I looked at the Rhode Island numbers. It looks like half of our growth in Rhode Island has come as a result of immigrants. My question is, with the growth in immigration, has there been more pressure on the school system, particularly in terms of English as a second language? Has that become more important? That may be the wrong way to phrase that. But
is it a priority? Yes. Has it had?
That was the word.
Yes. Has it had an impact on our schools? Absolutely. Have we had to restructure and rethink how we deliver instruction? Yes. Have we sought teachers to get double endorsements? Yes. Are we still promoting that for our teaching staff? Yes. Is it a must now in our Newport schools? Yes. Does it require additional funding? It does, in the sense of we have to rethink how we're allocating our present resources and shifting it to make sure we're meeting the needs of all our children. And in the early grades, the bigger investment we make just with all children, the better results we'll have. So it has played a huge impact in our training, how we approach our children culturally, learning more about each other. This year was the first year we held our first we held a Hispanic celebration last year. 2 years ago, Principal Vance put it in, but this year we had a culminating event. And I have to say, it was outstanding. The children, the mayor, I know Counselor Segley and Counselor McCullough were there. It was a great celebration. And just to see the young people, all the young people at Rogers celebrating, enjoying, understanding. We had a mariachi band from Brown University. They spoke to the students, all of them. Some of them were bio majors, some of them were engineers. They explained how they, what their majors were at school. And then they also explained how important it was to maintain one's culture. It has also driven us to rethink how our children are able to graduate from high school. And I'm going to circle back to the beginning of the conversation again, when you said, well, are they in classes? Are they in school? Our children are in school. And as I said, they're learning inside and outside the school building. But for our high school students, a lot of our students that have come in through the immigration system, there's a requirement that when they arrive, they must enroll in school. And for those that arrive at our doorstep, usually around the ages of 15 to 17, their primary purpose here in the States is to work and to support their families. So there's been a lot of work we've been doing here at the high school, working with Newport Community School, to think of alternative ways of enabling our students to earn their high school degrees and at the same time be able to support and help their families. So we just had this conversation, as a matter of fact, yesterday and this morning, that we're looking at our data in a pilot programs we've tried. Should we be thinking of other ways of doing it? So that's my very brief way of answering yes, yes, and yes. Impact is huge.
It's an interesting situation. If you look at the Boston Fed, you'll see the several-page brief that's I don't have it right next to me, but it's really interesting reading and seeing what's happened to immigration throughout New England, and it's going to have huge impacts all over.
It is. It's big. It's big. So, and it will continue. We have actually a sister city in Guatemala, and we have a teacher down there on sabbatical that is working in one of the schools to help those children better prepare for when they come into the school systems, and for our teacher to better understand their culture, to be able to bring that back to our teaching staff. So Dr. Mooney, Ronnie Lee Mooney, Principal Vance over here at the high school, and Assistant Principal Monahan, along with Evelyn Folcarelli, are doing an amazing job. And I need to give kudos to my math teacher, Granier Phelps. She has done an amazing work as well. And these are Granier and other of her colleagues have gotten double endorsements as far as also being multi-language learner certified. Ryan's back.
Are there other things that you think are important for people to know?
Sure. Yeah. Well, this Friday, we have the military ball. It's one of my favorite events. That'll be held at a new location this year. We're going to hold it at the Elks. And so that's coming up on Friday evening. Saturday, we have SATs, And then we also have our Rogers High School Craft Fair. It's a fundraiser that goes from 9 to 2 in the gym. Next week, as you shared, we're going to have our 365 soft launch on Monday. And then on Friday evening, we're going to have a celebration with our elementary students, our community partners, and I think some dignitaries may show up for that one to celebrate learning year-round. So we have a lot of things on the calendar. Christmas concerts, I recommend everyone pay attention to their school newsletters. Those will be coming up. We had an unbelievable, I have to tell you, kudos to Principal Browner for dressing up literally like a turkey in a turkey costume. And he led the Thompson Turkey Trot on Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break down to America's Cup by Cardines Field by the fire station. I can only imagine what happened when he went by the fire station. But he and the band and the whole school did a turkey trot. So I congratulate all of them for that
Dedication.
event. Yeah.
Brian, you're muted.
I was going to say, is it me?
No, it's me. Just as I line it up perfectly, I was saying that I have a tough question for you, and I can't believe I haven't asked you this before. I guess I'll start with one. Is it appropriate as we approach the next set of holidays for people to be thinking about teacher gifts?
That's such an individual thing. I think the most important gift you can give a teacher is have your child go to school.
Okay.
Be there.
Well, earlier when you brought up that you were previously a middle school principal, I was going to ask you what is an appropriate gift to give, but maybe that just puts too much pressure on everybody around.
I think you give what you want. And again, I think the best gift I think any teacher gets is a note or a card or something from their student. Those are the things. Even now, I have gifts that were made. Paperweights, all that. They're still over there. Over there, I have some too. So those are the best. And you write the child's name and you write the year, 1996, or and then I meet their children. So that's great.
Perfect. All righty. Frank, anything else?
Yeah, just one. We ask it all the time. And just one last question: staffing. We fully staffed.
We have one position, but we've managed, fortunately, within our own staff. We have one position. Para educators. We're still struggling, and I know all school districts across the state are. And for the public para educators, our support staff in the classrooms that help the children that either have special needs or there's additional supports that are needed for the classroom teacher during the day. I would say support staff is one of our constant challenges.
Are there minimum requirements for a para educator?
There is a paraeducator certification, but what Newport does is if you're willing to commit to taking the course, and we do offer opportunities to take it, we will take you in on a trial basis.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, we will be running around the Christmas holiday break the next time we're supposed to meet. So maybe we'll discuss the next time we're going to work that works best for everybody around the holidays.
That sounds good. Sounds good to me.
And we'll discuss we'll discuss the next year and all of the good things that are going to come at that point.
That's right. It's been a pretty good year. We've had some ups and downs, but it's getting better all the time.
Excellent. All right, Superintendent, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good week.
That is Newport School Superintendent Colleen Jermain. We thank her for joining us. She joins us each and every month on the last Wednesday of the month. If you miss any conversation, want to watch it, listen to it, all available on whatsupnuke.com. You could also submit questions for the superintendent, the Frank and I, and lots of good information in there, Frank.
I think so. It was a little different. We got to talk about some things with homelessness we don't usually talk about. Of course, absenteeism we continue to because that's a real problem, but lots of stuff and a nice update on Rogers. It sounds like that's moving in the right direction.
It does. All right, my friends. Well, we will talk to you real soon.
Very good. Thank you, Ryan.
All right. That is Frank Prosence. We want to thank Newport School Superintendent Colleen Burns-Jermain for joining us once again today. Again, if you missed any portion of this conversation, want to watch it again, want to share it, want to listen to it, all available on whatsupnuke.com. Thanks for watching.